Hello and welcome to Music with Briley. We're going to continue working today on Showing Me How to Care. It's a piano piece I improvised in December over the holidays. We're in a fairly late stage of this project in terms of the workflow that I've been developing. We're looking right now at the full project, and I've added a mixing bus plugin called Neutron to kind of bring it more to the front. Single instrument piano. I think I will take off the chroma verb. It was nice, but it's too thick. This has a built-in reverb, but I'm not using it. I don't need a delay either, to be honest. Keep them up here. I like it. Okay. Call me crazy, I'm crazy. Everybody has their own crazy. This is not even my craziness. Crazy is crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and try this smart tempo that I've been battling. So maybe I'm crazy in the way that I'm sometimes stupidly persistent. There's just these little nagging elements that I would like to clean up and quantize just slightly. I don't want to get too grid focused. And the smart tempo is the promising feature to help me do that. I've got my, I've had a lot of struggles with it. One of them was that this piece, I apparently, I just switched sort of what you call the what is it, time signature, for a brief moment. So it's mainly in 6/8, but I did go into 4/4 time briefly, just by counting this is like post hoc. This is not something I planned or am really conscious of when I'm playing. But that matters when you are transcribing and quantizing. Notice that you can find the downbeat, so you have to have sort of the right count. So this is good part of my development, is learning to be aware of this and learning to count music, even counting while I'm playing. So the first thing is I just want this downbeat to be right. It's sort of on these first notes to be here, so it's very clear to the piece where the downbeat is, without cutting them off. And the second thing is, this is crazy to me, is because it's wasting a lot of time. Mostly due to my ignorance of how things work, but also I'm very suspicious that I suspect there are some major bugs in the smart tempo feature. it's really hard to test software, particularly heavily graphically oriented software, written in C++. Likely this is likely written in C++. There's just I don't know what's going on, but there's how they're developing logic for sure. But they're throwing in features as well, like kind of rapidly innovating, sort of developing new AI features in these things. I suspect that there's been some regressions. It's just really complicated software and old, like sort of even probably legacy code in there. That's why I suspect, being a software developer myself, and having developing bugs and create regressions, I suspect part of my struggle here is with bugs. So let's create a new project alternative. I was going to go to the mix and mastering, which is the final stage. I can always come back to this. I'm going to see how Smart Tempo behaves with a song where I've pretty much blocked it out. I've got the overall structure. I've cleaned up the timing manually on a lot of things, so it's really close to how it would be. Finally, I've removed like pauses, hesitations. So in this regard, I think Smart Tempo just needs to do a little bit less work. Like this is more polished. So the first thing I'll check, yeah, so there's this part that this event does contain like notes that are outside of the event. So here's the first bug or it's a feature probably. Okay, oh, so one thing I need to do is I need to put this in adapt. This is probably a feature, but the dots are only appearing on the downbeat. But if I want to set this as a downbeat, there's no dot for me to click on. I have to kind of zoom in. So that's probably a feature, but there's only 3 dots. And now the dots are misbehaving here. So, and now I can't get them back. So there's probably a bug there actually. There's some kind of feature bug happening, but this is the downbeat, and really so this is the other problem. Not only do I have these events over here that there are part of the, whatever the word for this is. And I need this dot here. Do I need it? Yeah, I do need that dot there. That's missing. I can't get it. So it has me 6/8 time. I did get the 4/4 time, and then back to 6/8. So that's a good sign. But all my dots aren't showing up. So sometimes I can jiggle the handle and it'll like make them appear again. But that's not really working. So this is kind of why every time I've tried Smart Tempo, something weird. It's like a no-go. I think this is just not getting a lot of attention. Maybe a lot of artists are more interested in recording audio, dragging out audio events on the timeline, quantizing audio events using Smart Tempo on the audio to make it more rhythmic or matching their project BPM. The other thing that it did is it put me up at like 138 BPM, and if I listen to it, it's pretty close to the recorded tempo. But it seems lethargic. Like it slows it down. If I switch project alternatives to the Eminem one, don't save, actually, just go to the one I manually save. The tempo change. So yeah, this is just why I really can't do Smart Tempo. Okay, it's actually, take it back, that was, this is interesting. We just save that as adapt tempo. So this is another thing I am trying to adapt and try different angles of this. This smart tempo feature and the tempo detection and quantization and things that unlocks is really important, I think, very powerful, and one of the main reasons I like to use Logic, so I can take advantage of that. And then my freeform tempo information can be digitized, and I can use it in conjunction with other plugins, like delays or arpeggiators, things like that, that are going to need a bit of tempo information. So I'm hoping that, and maybe it was a coincidence that I was playing around 70 BPM. I don't remember if I had a metronome here. But here's another interesting thing. Sometimes the tempo detection, it doubles it. It's like detecting at the like semiquaver level instead of the quaver or something like that, and this should be half, in other words. And it did it throughout this whole section. But let's see though, if I don't even mess with the smart tempo, I just use the adapt tempo and I clean up this project alternative and throw away the smart tempo one. So it didn't make it more lethargic or slow. That was just my playing, because I haven't messed with the tempo in any of these project alternatives. I've just cleaned up manually. But it did glitch out when I tried using the tempo markers, and that was just a no-go. I could not work with it, period. Full stop. Like, there's nothing I could do because there was a specific marker I needed that wasn't visible. Okay, so when I move this back to the first, snap that there, it should bring up all the tempo stuff, right? Did that? Yes, it did. So we did this in the adapt tempo mode. And if that's that, and I do have my markers now, so this is another way I might be able to get in to smart tempo. It's another way of getting into tempo analysis. I like that. I can deal with that approach. So just switching it to adapt tempo and not using the smart tempo analyze button. I can maybe work with that. And you can see I've done pretty good work here. But then it starts to drift. It starts to drift big time. And that's because the tempo analysis wasn't quite accurate. So this is where I'm at a loss as to how I should work with it. It's not, so it's pretty much keeping me really hovering tightly around 70. My playing didn't do that. My natural tempo didn't do that. Furthermore, I'm just curious how it's going to handle this. 4/4, 6/8, this transition place here. And then the question is, how do I work with this? What am I supposed to do? What is the workflow? And I can't find reliable information about how people are expected to work with this. For example, if I shift everything over scale left, move right, it's going to start shifting these. And what happens when I do that? I mean, there's no like undo. It's not like, oh, it does keep those. Wow, whoops. Oh. It does keep that. Nice. Hopeful. Okay. So maybe that's not so bad. You can see it's like a standing wave there. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and try this. If I did, so I've done my signature changes in advance. Let's see how that helps. If I can turn on this metronome. I hope. If I can get this working, if I can clean this, really help. So here's the first thing that I'm encountering in that I'm not counting the music, and so my movements are off grid. This movement is, it's like on the grid, but then it shifts the whole piece off the grid, so maybe that's just okay. The downbeat, so I lose the downbeat. The downbeat moves to the middle of the measure. Now the fix I've previously done is just to shift this to here by deleting these. And that puts everything back on the measure. That's one approach. But that's a form of syncopation that I might like to have. Boom, boom. I'm gonna try it. Ah, yeah, because here's the problem. Now I've lost this much information because I made that edit. That was my problem, is I have to keep regenerating it because I guess naturally it can't handle the truth, can't handle that change, that one change. And then starts to glitch. We start to have drifting things where literally the beginning of my track here is somehow detected as preceding the clip. And it's not, it's like here, it's like right here in the clip. So these clips get out of sync. This is a serious bug. This is a legitimate bug. This is not. All I did was delete a piece of this clip and reanalyze it and see the playhead right here. Okay, now they're back in sync. So I think that's a bug. Okay. I'm going to save it. I'm in a project alternative. We already started with adapt tempo. Okay. So now I need to sort of start over. This is the frustrating part. If I do make any moves later, I have to go back to the very beginning, start my whole thing, because I had to reanalyze the tempo. And it, even though I put this first note on the downbeat, literally on the one, and it's like a note starting event there, the analyze, the algorithm is not detecting as a downbeat over and over and over. It's partially confused because of this preceding information. So this might be a way I can, if I just, there's probably a way. to remove the MIDI outside of the clip. I don't know the words to search for. Basically. So here's a possible workaround or solution there. If I use my MIDI markers, I can loop markers. I can possibly. I don't know, mark here. Crop outside of the locators. No, that wasn't the right one. That was close though. Edit. That's an interesting approach. So I can select all of these. This seems kind of weird, but okay. Then go to select. Invert selection, and then I can delete these. Oh, well, but no, that had some actually, that's strange. Edit, select, invert selection. Okay, so nobody selected. I'll just delete them. Well, whatever, dude. Because it's starting the detection here. There should be just a way I can say, like, it's sort of in Bitwig, you can just it's Command J or something like that to like essentially it freezes that. In a way, I believe the smart tempo algorithm should be aware of the start of this clip in any case. It shouldn't be something the end user needs to fiddle with, be confused about. So it's a poor design. I think this is going to start a little late, and then I can read this again. It's sort of like balance, but yeah. So here we are again. I need to do that little jiggle the handle thing that I did a moment ago. Okay, I gotta go for it. This is why, again, I feel like I'm wasting so much time. I'm gonna get further and further down the road here, and something's gonna happen that wrecks the whole process. And then I throw up my hands, and I sort of, in frustration, and I roll back, I delete the project alternative. So that's not ideal. And I do start to feel like stress when working with this feature, which is also from a user experience perspective, like revealing the uncertainty. Is this going to work out? Like, am I wasting my time? Am I going to break the piece? Am I going to be able to publish the piece? Am I going to be able to finish? If I were working under a deadline, I would very much hesitate to get into this, even though I want to have a quality outcome. And so all I'm going to do here is just make big moves on the downbeats. I'm just going to focus on the downbeats. I'll resign myself to that. So here's a part where it doesn't start in a downbeat. I would kind of like usually clip that. If I set the downbeat, that affects everything, the whole project. So I can't do that. But what I can do is just scale. So I can squish this space. And then trim it later if I want. I think these downbeats are just the most important part. Then my quantize can kind of come in and fill the gaps for me. So I am counting at some level, like a cellular level or something like that, very subconscious, but I'm not very metronome aware. Okay, so here's an interesting part where I would actually like to hear the playback with the metronome on. And I think since we're in adaptive tempo, it should be applying these changes. Oh, that was unfortunate. So that could be a user, experience thing that my expectations weren't aligned with what the thing was going to do when I hit play there, but I hit the metronome on. I thought it would play from the cursor position here, but it goes to the beginning because I have my loop enabled. Okay, this has also been like, I need to learn how logic works thing, but whenever you have a loop enabled, you can't really specify where even if you move the cursor, it won't play from that. default actually a little too loud. So I could let this whole thing slide. We're pretty good, I think. Here's where we're anyway. No. I'm gonna find 4/4. Let's see. Wow, it's actually. When I get the project in a cleaner state, of course, it's going to be better off. Again, this is why I've been emphasizing it. A lot of this is just me not knowing how to work with adapt tempo and not having a very clean project to begin with. So wow. I did not play that fast. Right. So each of these, my whole cadence here is that each of these is basically a measure. This is definitely not how I play. I'm not playing chords ever. I'm not that skilled. So basically, I didn't see where that happened. But each of these is a measure, so I'm just gonna let it know that. And I've got to figure out how to fix that, because that sounded bad. Yeah. So what the heck happened there? That's got to be a bug. I haven't even been out here in this far into this. So we can see the tempo it's almost clipping. It's so high. All right then. But when we put this down, because I think I can fix that. Weird. Okay. I think it's clipping and acting weird around this boundary. And things have been moving, of course. It's 4/4 time, and each of these is also a measure. I'll have to just use my intuition here. This is what I'm saying. I don't think I can use this alternative as much as I'd like to. I need to quantize certain things, and it would really help if I could use the grid, the musical grid, just even for the piano, let alone other instruments. Okay. So what the ding dong? So now we're back. I think we're back to 6/8. And as we tail off, the tempo is decreasing, but these are nonetheless, these are sort of downbeats. And I did move them. So I think it's been applying it naturally, so let's try something. I think it's been applying as I work. Now here's a problem. I already noticed that my 6/8 got pushed, my 6/8 transition. So the signature track is also wonky. It's not really, even though they're detached, which I guess makes sense. It's a global track. So what I'm going to do though is I think just try to bring these down and see what that does to the music. So these ones are really high. Oh, that's kind of cool. I can deal with that. Okay, now what are we at? 170 again. Let's see. Anyway, we got like, it may be up at around 100. That's cool. It happens. And then bring this one up. Just going to try to average these a little bit, while still letting them be kind of natural, varying. Bring it a little closer. So what did that do in this section then? And it would be nice if there's just sort of like a tempo smooth function where I could saw these nice variations. it's just too unnatural and jerky. What if I just do something? No, it's I don't know. There's gonna be too much room, too much work to clean that up. So yeah, this is what I mean. I didn't check the time, but this is exactly what I was afraid of. I can't use that. Edit. I don't know how to clean it up, so I can't use this project alternative. So it means everything I did during the adapt tempo is going to get reversed. It means all that time I just spent with the smart tempo and adapt tempo features was wasted. We had troubles where it moved around the key signatures. We had troubles where previously the buttons weren't, the little dots on the downbeats and other tempo divisions weren't appearing correctly. We have a problem where it's consistently detecting the wrong downbeat. We have trouble where when I make an edit to the piece, it has to reanalyze the entire clip, I guess you could say. I don't think all of these are necessarily my ignorance of how this works. I think this is an under-maintained feature in Logic. I think this is severely neglected. And they do weird things like removing the chord track and then adding it back in. This is totally an aside, but you know, these global tracks are very important. The chord and the key, like the time signature, very meaningful global tracks, but even locally, like these time signatures in this clip should sort of be consistent, even if I'm editing the clip, that information needs to be persisted somehow, not just globally, but I know reflected locally as well. I'm not really sure how else to articulate this, but also just to reiterate that despite my lack of vocabulary here and understanding of the underlying way things work, or bugs perhaps that are manifesting, the experience is that of frustration and uncertainty, even to the extent of like, I'm second guessing whether or not to use Logic if this sort of level of quality is coming up, this like level of degraded quality or incompleteness is manifesting here. What else are they overlooking? What else is neglected? What else is acquiring technical debt as they push out these sweeping new features like this mastering tool, which also just like is under, like, it's just not very good, this mastering assistant. It's like they needed to push something out, but it's not useful. It's like actually reduces the quality. I don't want to get off on the whole aside, and I'm sorry to sound like pessimistic or like I'm complaining here. So otherwise, I really would like to work with Logic. It's a great tool, and I'd like to start using some more advanced features, but I don't have the kind of quality, the confidence in it. So we'll come back. I'm not really using these modulators. I think they were there from the, they were introduced when I added the piano preset on the iPad. So I'd like this workflow of recording freeform in the morning on the iPad, moving it over to the computer and doing some really good refinements and cleanups but everything is very manual. Like I have to very manually refine and tweak things. I can't use basic features like the grid because I can't set the downbeats of my own sloppy playing. This type of stuff. I again acknowledge like there's a lot of room for improvement in my side of the thing, having a better, more cleaned up clip before analyzing the tempo. Those type of things. Of course, I can use some middle ground, but yeah. So I just wanted to have a little rant there before I just go and I undo this. I remove this adapt tempo work. Here we go. So luckily it was only around. Let me save it. So yeah, okay. So the last change I made to the mixing and mastering was at 11:15 roughly. And here we're at roughly 12. So let's just say that was 45 minutes of wasted time. And there was a couple of little improvements in there that would be nice to keep. But yeah, I just don't know how to do it. I don't feel like keeping a crufty, sort of broken project alternative saved is in any way helpful, so I delete it. Let's hear this. See, there's my time signatures. There was a very brief period where I was in for. Oh, I can't see it. It doesn't do so much good now, but the time signature changes were very close to each other here, and this 6/8 had gotten pushed way out to the side. So yeah, maybe that's it. This, my style of music is a bit more fragile, intimate, like imperfect, major imperfections, but just embracing those, cleaning them up a little bit to clean up our act. Let's learn and grow and improve. I have nothing against that. Let me turn down the volume because this mastering assistant is going to make it very loud. We'll find a kind of loud part, so where there's like a lot of not too sweeping changes there. I like the EQ to be very subtle. I'm going to check the maximizer. It never really enables true peak, but it does have a little headroom. I didn't have to like really maximize it. I'm not sure if this really works, this true peak thing. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to bounce it a few times, and the first time I bounce it, I'll look at the overall shape. Our target is YouTube standard. A couple of other ones use this. I think Spotify uses -14 LUFS, loudness units full scale. The reason I use these is I don't think music needs to be really pushing arbitrarily loud. It's a 5-minute song. In particular, I think there should be consistency across tracks on an album and across listens on a streaming platform where the listener doesn't have to turn up or down the volume. So I target, this is just one that's recommended by the industry. I agree that there should be some standard there. Let's check it. So what I'm going to do is I'll bounce it. Oh, cool. Particular selection. So we're going to like 1 15, 116, okay. 117, yeah, and then does it have a natural decay? It's kind of a lot of silence from 105, 117, and before I do that, I will just the last step is essentially just to put in volume, automation, and kind of get it at the desired length. There's a shortcut because sometimes I can find it and sometimes I can't. It's Shift Control. There it is. That puts our I think it's pretty natural. So we'll move our clip length that long and we'll move our project length that long so everything corresponds. Save it. Wow, project save. Bounce it. So yeah, I kind of had like 5 more minutes of work, so to speak. It's not perfect track, it's far from that, but I don't want to get in this loop of forever editing it. But then I tried the Smart Tempo again. Again, wasted 45 minutes. But that's not the first time I've been wasting time in general. And even on this album, I keep kind of doing things like other than piano, other than music, out of interest and curiosity. It kind of prevents me from being focused and from like delivering and following through. And I really want to focus in 2026 on piano and music to the extent I can. Everything I want to do in my free time sort of should revolve around those as much as I can do. Not everything is possible, of course. Good. So hopefully we'll have a decent result. So again, this first bounce with the mixing and mastering chains enabled, configured a little bit, is just looking at the overall kind of like shape of the piece. Like, is there a loud part? Is there a really quiet part? Are there gaps? Are we close to the 14 LUFS? What about our loudness units? What's our like dynamic range? Piano music typically has a bit more dynamic range, especially contemplative pieces where there's hesitation and pauses and things. But I still have an idea that it should be under like 10 loudness units, the dynamic range. So it's again like not like you have to turn up during a song and turn down during a song. I don't like that experience. It's kind of interesting at the orchestra where they have like real big crescendo or very silent, very quiet, and still serene parts. But even that's a bit disturbing for my tastes. So let's stick to loudness meter first. Okay, so here's an example. Massive disparity, and mainly in this 4/4 part, around 3 minutes 12. Let's just say 3:52. 3 minutes 7 to 3:52. So yeah, this is one where I'll probably take the approach of boosting, and I wouldn't be surprised. So it was 3 minutes 7 to 3:50. So 3:10 to 3:50. Let's just say. And it's this part here. And then just put a marker there. to this part. It looks like. You can see these transitions here. So we're at 3:47. So what I'm going to do is around 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Start boosting. So I'm going to anchor it at the last loud part. It's around 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Or 3:06, it's fine. Right, and that's natural because it's these tapering notes with this. 3:04, and then these taper off. Alright. So that's my anchor point. Then we can have more of a smooth fade up. And then the loudness resumes sort of. And then I'm going to boost this as well. But let's just go here at about 3:52. So this is sort of the idea, like during the mixing session, in the mastering, we should be writing the fader. But what I'm doing is I'm automating that process. Okay, so the disparity is, let's say, the peak is around minus 9.3 LUFS. Let's say this peak. I could even go to different peak. So yeah, we got quite a bit of headroom to come up. I'll just grab this and we'll go 5 decibels. It can have a quiet time in this song, but when it resumes, what, basically minus 11 instead of minus 9. So this can actually resume at about +2. And my goal here is to kind of have a more smooth overall shape. Now we've got a lot of this true peak clipping here, this red analog domain clipping, but we're also at minus 11.4 just with this recording. I've just boosted everything, so I think that's going to put us probably around minus 11 or minus 10. Overall, the loudness unit is full scale for the whole piece. So that said, I can subtract. I think I can just subtract around 4. This is about as mathy as I get. I can barely do this, minus 4. Because I often do the wrong thing. Go the wrong direction. Yeah, we want to come down. And hopefully we'll be averaging around minus 14 or less. Let's give it a try. And unfortunately, this plugin doesn't snapshot the data there. So I can A/B it, but I can't A/B the picture. So we're gonna A/B it. Maybe they'll add that feature. And I'm gonna get lunch. This is very close, this album. There's this and one more piece. I'm gonna stage these on SoundCloud, listen to them. They're already under a Creative Commons license, so people can feel free to download them and use them in your own productions, remix them. Pretty good for games, maybe music, meditation, background music, like podcasts. Those are some of the ways I'm thinking they could be useful. And I've seen people using my music, for example, in podcasts, some kind of documentary stuff. Yeah, you see, we're hovering around minus 14. We don't have any analog domain clipping, which is good. And I think while there is a quiet part, which is natural with piano music. Ooh, we can even go another bit, like decibel. Nice. The shape is still pretty uniform, so I like that. And yeah, I think that's it. Just boosting one more decibel, and this is ready to share. Suitable for desire to share, in the words of Flutterspot, an electronic musician from Boulder, Colorado. Cool beans. So yeah, that's it. Essentially, I could bring these up a little bit more. The peak is so early in this piece. 2 minutes 8. $305. All right, so basically 1 minute 3, 159. We're good. Yeah, and then it's at this point basically where we could anchor, and starting it around 218. There's a tail there. I can believe that these nodes will be tailing off. We could come up -12, -14. It's so close. And then this goes to 3 minutes 3 seconds. This could come up 1 decibel, 1 or 2 decibels. And this could come up in, I think, to the 5. I'm just afraid of these sort of fader movements. What is this in? 347. This is going to be up. One feature I would like is the ability to click this and set the exact value. Bitwig lets me do that. So now I can set the exact value of Bitwig. Surprised that it'll let us do that. What's the difference? Save it. So yeah, essentially we're writing the fader here. So we got -15 LUFS. Oh, it did save that. Yes, they did that. You can see the difference here now. Things are quieter. I brought it down, but also more uniform. Beautiful. I do like this new feature that this didn't used to persist. Glad they added that. Oh, I'm getting hungry. Pretty tight on -14 now, and I didn't do any other adjustments there. Just the volume automation. So that alone, these boosts, a couple of boosts I made, could bring us closer to 14 without me needing to adjust the mastering chain, the master volume on the mastering chain. Yeah, there will be quiet times, and that's good. And then I like these round numbers a little close here. 14.6, 14.7. Yes, very good. Because then I can do just a boost, like a 1 over a boost. This is a pretty good shape. I'll leave that as that is. And if we just hop over to ozone, and now just stay -3.5, and that should put us right around -14. I don't have to be precise. But here we can see all I've done is just a little bit mainly in the latter half of that the volume boost brings us up in 2 segments, and there are some nice peaks there. And everything kind of stays relative though. So yeah, cool. So that was this, and then let's go ahead and all this is going to do is we can discard this one. This last boost is bounce. It's going to just boost everything. Replacing the file. So yeah, that's my mixing and mastering flow. I'm not really a mixing or mastering engineer. I don't really have like a budget or a studio I'm working with or anything like that to have some real nice, like professional polish done on these. I think the music industry is in a bit of a pickle, and as an independent artist and hobbyist, essentially musician, I right now don't find myself with opportunity to be collaborating with a lot of other people. Working on that though. I'd like to be more in the musical scene, finding a scene whether it's online or in person. Actually, okay, because this segment is the louder segment, we're like coming off a bit hot here, but it'll cool down in the latter half of the piece to right around our target. I don't get exactly 14, but I try to be 14 or lower though. So yeah, I think this is ready. That's the last time I'm going to bounce it. We can see that change was only just to nudge everything up from 14.7 to 14.2. It's a little bit of a numbers game. But again, the reason why I do this is so that the music on a track and across listens across album, the music on an album, but even if you listen to different music from different artists or my music across different albums, it's consistently loud. And I'm trying to improve the quality and improve like aspects of it as well. So it's not like I'm stuck, but by consistent, I mean there are certain things that you can come to expect, and that's one of them is like that the loudness is not going to blow out your ears, or you're not going to have to ride the volume knob in your car or whatever, or on your phone while you're listening. This has been another session of Music with Briley, where we've pretty much finalized the staging version of Showing Me How to Care, which is the track on my work in progress album, Good Medicine. It's basically impressionistic, improvisational piano. Appreciate your time. Hope you're doing well. Have a great day.